My name is Mike Mulcahy. I'm COO of O'Brien. I've been here since 2003. Prior to that, worked for a company called Wallace Computer Services, which is now rolled up to R.R. Donnelley. But I came to work for O'Brien in 2003, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer, so I am in charge of making sure everything operates here like it should. O'Brien was founded in 1973, originally a forms distribution company, and in the 90s we were retooled. We saw the train coming, and it was the end of business forms that knew them. So we got into print and mail. Our first large client was Pepsi Americas, doing payroll. So once we kicked those guys off, we got into the insurance space, and then probably about 10 years ago we really doubled down our efforts in the insurance space, and that's been our primary focus ever since and going forward. We got in December right before COVID hit. It's really a nice upgrade from our previous building. We doubled our size, our space, and so you got to spread out a little bit, which, you know, when you're trying to have social distancing, it helps not to be working all on top of each other. We have 18 full-time employees here, and we added 3 more members just recently. So we're growing, going in the right direction. We are on all type SLAs with our clients, so everything that comes in, 99.9% has to go out the same day. So files come in, we process them. We use ULIRU from Transformations to help with our composition, adding 2D barcodes. Then that will go into the print queue, and that's where the RISOs come in. And we'll print a lot of its policies, declarations, endorsements, cancellations, all your typical insurance documents. And then once those are stacked up, they go on our inserters that all have cameras on both ends to read those 2Ds to assure 100% in the mail. And so, and that also can control any variable inserting that we have for, you know, BREs or marketing pieces. So yeah, it's pretty automated, and then all of that is tracked and audited, so at any given time if a client of ours wants to know if an envelope went out, we can say, here, it went out on this date on the back of our inserter. And then at that point, we prepare all of the mail in bins and saran wrap it and put it on the dock for Pitney Bowes that comes by 2 times a day to pick up our mail. We have Canon and Ricoh and RISO. 5 RISOs, GD's 9630. They all have fireys. And we've seen, just incidentally, we've seen a massive improvement in our front end rips on those fireys compared to our older boxes that we have. So we used to have to chunk files down because it took too long for the rip to happen, and now it all flows smoothly. We've had an interesting few years because we lost our largest client 2.5 years ago. And so we had to retool a little bit internally, get lean, and fortunately our hard work over the last 2.5 years were up and beyond where we previously were. But there was an insurance company that got shut down by a DOI. It wasn't, you know, our fault at all, but it just, these sort of things happen. I've seen it happen throughout my career. And you don't have any control over it. All you can do is react. So we scaled back a few things here and then doubled down on our sales efforts, and they've been paying off. So we've got, we had a huge project come in for the last 2 months, October, November, and got 4.3 million sheets of paper out for one of our clients. So that was a nice way to prove ourselves to them, and we believe they're gonna, they've verbally committed to a 5-year contract with us. So we're very customer centric, and so we previously were doing shells and mono and providing solutions for our customers that way, but we did have a new client that was looking for a color variable. So that's when we introduced ourselves to the RISO team, and it was it worked out great. So the platform ran the job, and the customer was happy. So but in our world, redundancy is like paramount. So we can't just have one. So we have to be redundant at every level, from power, location, machine, personnel. So we ended up buying another one shortly after we bought the first one, and then we continued to grow. And my thought is, I'm looking at capital expenses, really getting away from buying mono presses, because I can run mono on the color presses, I can't run color on the mono presses. So I wanted the flexibility to be able to service any client that comes in the door. So the RISO made the most sense. So now we have 5. Quality is one of them for sure. We want to make sure any documents leaving here look nice and are presentable on behalf of our customers. It's speed and durability, uptime, right? Those are all factors. Footprint is a factor for us, just because the space. What's important to us is keeping those presses up and running. So they don't do us any good when they're down. But the nice thing is, we are now self-servicing our RISOs, which has been great. We sent an employee to your training program, and he got straight A's, I'm pretty sure, did a really good job. And so he's been servicing the RISOs, which is exciting for me from a bottom line perspective, because it's no more click charges, just got to buy the ink. Going to self-service has really empowered us. We've got the parts here now we need. He's looking at it on a regular basis, and so it was an learning experience for all of us, I think. Well, honesty is so important, right? I mean, there's no sense in trying to fool each other into thinking something's real or not real. So I appreciate transparency and honesty. That way I can make business decisions that make sense. If I'm being led down a path that is like, oh sure, it can do that, oh it does this, it does that, and it really doesn't do that, it can be very problematic. So the mutual trust I think we have to have in the business relationship with our vendors is paramount. So, and we do have a lot of great partners. RISO is one of them for sure. Bell & Howell, Pitney Bowes, Canon, Rico. So we're fortunate to have a good group to support our growth and what we're trying to do here. Capacity is a part of it, but a lot of it is little intangibles, like being far enough away to where if a natural disaster occurs, you don't have the same natural disaster, but close enough to where if we needed to send staff up to operate equipment, and we do have the same equipment on the presses, the software, the inserters, the cameras, the barcodes. So all of those things are redundant. So when we implement a client, every client we implement, we are automatically implementing them in disaster recovery. It's just part of our solution. So we'll create all the maps, and then once we create the maps, we have them in our environment, and then we send them to Kirk's environment from BCS. So he's been a great partner. We talk all the time on the phone, commiserating and helping each other out. So it's invaluable to have that kind of a partner that you can trust. And one of the other advantages to our setup is we're on completely different infrastructure. So should there be a hack or a virus or whatever, it would never spread to both environments. So we're protected from that perspective as well. So yeah, having a partner is great, and you have to test it consistently, which we do. We back each other up both on the outbound printing and mailing, as well as we're both intaking mail now. So indexing it, scanning it, archiving it, sending data to our customers. So we're backed up from multiple levels with Kirk and his team. Where I see the trends for in the industry, and then how that's going to impact O'Brien, is the continued interest in outsourcing. So our focus is the insurance space, primarily property casualty, or specialty insurers. and a lot of them, especially during the whole COVID mess, realized that the only people that had to go to the office were the people running the printers and inserters. So they're basically a lot of people running a mini print company within their larger company. So we see a trend in increased outsourcing. So that's our focus, and that's our goal, and that's where we're going to try to see growth at O'Brien. Pipeline looks great, but it's never looks good enough. So it's really important, even when times are good, to keep the nose to the grindstone, and having that experience that we had 2 years ago of losing your largest customer really makes you never want to go back to doing that again. So our growth goal for next year is probably 20% increase in sales based on who we have coming in. And I'd be happy with 20% year over year if we can get it. The last data I looked at was the 31 million images that we did annually this past fiscal year. So from a total perspective on all images going through our plant, we have about 31 million images in this past year. About 12 million were on our monopresses, and about 18 million were on the RISOs. And it was all duplex. So we've got roughly half of that in pieces of paper. I belong to ING because of Dave Henkel. He introduced me to the group, I want to say in 2016, 2017. And it's great because there's approximately 50 other companies like ours that are dealing with the same challenges, same issues, usually have the same vendors, and so you can look around the room, and now that we've been members for over 5 years, I have a lot of friends in the group that have the same equipment I do. So during the supply chain issues, we were sharing ink, we were sharing contacts for envelopes, suppliers, paper suppliers. So the group really rallies around each other to try to solve some of these bigger industry challenges. So it's a fun group, and we go to pretty cool places too. So it's been a great experience for us, and it's helped us grow. It's helped us get closer with our vendor relationships. It helps with redundancy, backup, special projects. So there's usually someone, if you haven't done it before, there's someone at ING that has done it before. So it's really a great resource to learn and expand and look at new ways to grow your business.